The encounter in Karak Highway Robbie. I was a tourist exploring Malaysia and decided to go for a late-night drive on the eerie Karak Highway. The locals told me that it was the most dangerous and haunted highway in the world, but I didn't really think too much about it. I mean, people use this highway all the time. It was midnight, and there was no moonlight. The highway felt like a confusing maze, and it was so quiet it felt deafening. As I drove on, I noticed a faint light in the distance. It was a strange yellow Volkswagen car ahead of me. It slowed down, so I tried to overtake it. But suddenly, everything turned pitch black, and I couldn't see a thing. I panicked as my car headlights stopped working. To make things even scarier, the Volkswagen's headlights suddenly came on, giving off a creepy yellow light. I could barely see the person driving it. They were hidden in darkness. I followed it as a sense of dread gnawed at my insides. It felt like I had no choice, like an invisible hand was guiding me down this terrifying path. My hands trembled on the steering wheel. My heart raced as there were no other vehicles on the road. As I followed that creepy Volkswagen, things got stranger and scarier. It felt like I'm driving in the middle of nowhere. I couldn't see any exit from the highway. The air around me felt heavy, and it seemed like something really bad was there with me, even though I couldn't see anyone else on the road. Every part of me was telling me to turn back, to get away from this nightmare, but it felt like something was controlling me. The creepy Volkswagen kept leading me deeper into this scary place, and it felt like the line between the real world and something much worse was getting blurry. I tried not to think too much. Maybe I was just overthinking. The Volkswagen kept moving, and I kept following it as it was very, very dark outside. Then suddenly, the yellow Volkswagen picked up speed. My foot pressed on the gas pedal, and I trailed the mysterious Volkswagen as it cruised down. I tried to catch up with the mysterious Volkswagen. After a while, out of nowhere, I felt an intense sensation like a lightning bolt striking my mind. It was a powerful feeling, and it shouted at me to stop the car immediately. I didn't hesitate. I hit the brakes hard, bringing my car to a screeching halt just behind the Volkswagen. My heart raced wildly inside my chest as I opened the car door and stepped out, my mind racing to grasp the bizarre situation. Then came the biggest shock of my life. My car was positioned right at the edge of a river. If I hadn't stopped in time, I would have driven straight into it, and that would have been the end of me. It was a horrifying moment, and I realized that the Volkswagen had led me dangerously close to the brink of a deadly trap. That near-death experience haunted me for years to come. The memory of how I had followed that eerie Volkswagen into the darkness, how close I had come to driving to my death, remained etched in my mind like a nightmare I couldn't escape. I became traumatized by the thought of driving alone at night, constantly haunted by the fear of encountering something as sinister as that Volkswagen again. I tried to avoid highways, and I have never returned to Malaysia since then. I set out that day with a sense of adventure, eager to explore the vast wilderness that lay before me. The sun was shining brightly, casting dappled shadows through the towering trees. It was a perfect day for hiking, or so I thought. I had researched the trail extensively, or so I believed, and was confident that I could navigate it with ease. Armed with a map, a backpack filled with essentials, and a heart full of excitement, I ventured into the woods alone. The path was well marked at first, and I marveled at the beauty of nature surrounding me. Tall pines reached for the sky, their needles whispering secrets in the breeze. Birds chirped and squirrels scampered, creating a symphony of life that filled the air. However, as the hours passed, I began to notice that the trail markers became less frequent and less distinct. The once clear path now appeared overgrown, and I found myself having to push through thickets of underbrush. My heart rate quickened, and a creeping unease settled over me. I consulted my map repeatedly, trying to reassure myself that I was still on the right track. But the map seemed almost useless now, as the landscape around me had transformed into an alien, labyrinthine forest. Panic began to claw at the edges of my mind as I realized that I was lost. The sun dipped lower in the sky, casting long, ominous shadows that seemed to dance with malevolence. I quickened my pace, desperate to find my way back to the safety of the trail. But the forest appeared to have other plans. It was then that I heard a rustling in the underbrush behind me. I froze, every nerve in my body on high alert. My breath caught in my throat as I strained to listen. The rustling grew closer, and my heart pounded in my chest like a drumbeat of dread. Out of the shadows emerged a man, his appearance disheveled and his eyes gleaming with an unsettling intensity. His clothes were ragged, and a wild beard covered his face. He grinned at me, a grin that sent shivers down my spine.
Lost, are you?
He crooned, his voice low and sibilant. I took a step back, my instinct screaming at me to run, but my legs felt like lead. He approached me slowly, as if savoring my fear.
Don't worry, darling. I can help you find your way back.
His words were laced with an unmistakable menace. Fear seized me, and I couldn't move. I'd heard stories of people getting lost in these woods, scary tales told around campfires. Now, I was stuck in one of those stories. The man got closer, and his creepy smile got bigger. He grabbed my wrist so hard it hurt, like a vice squeezing my arm. I tried to pull away, but he was too strong. He started pulling me deeper into the dark woods, and my cries for help got lost in the silence. I knew what the man wanted now. He didn't want to help me, he wanted to hurt me. My heart raced, and I knew I had to fight back. With everything I had, I twisted and kicked until I broke free from his grip. I didn't look back. I just ran as fast as I could through the prickly bushes and over the bumpy ground. My skin got scratched, and I almost tripped a few times, but I kept running because I was so scared. But the man didn't stop. He kept coming after me, getting closer with each step. I could hear him breathing heavily, like a wild animal chasing its prey. I felt like I was trapped in a never-ending nightmare, running through the spooky woods. I was so scared, but I couldn't stop, even though my fear felt like a heavy weight in my chest. Just when I thought I couldn't run anymore, I heard a sound that filled me with hope. It was a loud whistle, cutting through the quiet of the forest. It was like a lifeline, promising safety. I ran even harder, following the sound of the whistle. I pushed through branches that scratched me and thorns that pricked me. The whistle got louder, and I could hear voices, people calling out to me. Finally, I burst out of the trees and into a small open area. There, I saw a forest ranger with a worried face. Beside him was a group of rescuers, and they had come to save me. The man chasing me stopped at the edge of the clearing, frustration and anger on his face. He had almost caught me, but now he was outnumbered and couldn't do anything. The forest ranger and his team grabbed the man and held him tight. I felt a mix of fear and relief. I had come so close to being a victim of something terrible. As they led him away in handcuffs, I felt a mixture of fear and gratitude. Fear for the horror I had narrowly escaped, and gratitude for the strangers who had come to my aid. As I was reunited with the search and rescue team and led back to safety, I couldn't help but reflect on the nightmare I had endured. The forest, once a place of serene beauty, had become a realm of unspeakable terror. the encounter with the sinister man would forever haunt my nightmares, a chilling reminder of the darkness that could lurk even in the most idyllic of settings. If you found any enjoyment in the video, I implore you to click that like button and subscribe if you dare.